It is written that we are all sons and daughters of the Most High. Therefore, we are all children of Israel. And yes, he does have 12 sons to represent the 12 tribes of Israel. And yes, angels laid with the daughters of men. Therefore, they have their own little tribes going on. But we are all children of Israel. So let's read. You who are standing in the house of Jehovah, our God, praise Jah, for Jehovah is good. Make melody to his name, for Jah has chosen even Jacob for himself. Therefore, Jacob is Jah. Jacob is Jehovah. That makes Israel for his special property. Jehovah, our Lord. In other words, Israel is God. So give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good, because his mercy endureth forever. Let Israel now say that his mercy endureth forever. Get it? Israel is God, is not a land. It is better to trust in the Lord than to put confidence in man. It is better to trust in the Lord than to put confidence in princes. So it's an insult to call the Lord of Lords the Prince of Peace. And it's also an insult to use his name to create problems all across the world. So let's watch.
You know, the Antarctic Treaty was signed by all the countries in the whole world so that no one can do anything in Antarctica. So they were all able to get together and sign this treaty. Don't you think they would all be able to get together and lie to you? Because I do. I'm at the point now, I don't believe in countries anymore. I believe we have owners because it can pretty much be proven. I mean, BlackRock and Vanguard basically own the whole world. So we have owners, and I don't think we have countries. We have dividers. We have jails that we're all in, that we're not allowed to leave without passports and licenses and certificates and all sorts of stuff. It's a scam.
They got us in the mix with their game plan.
And it's clear to me right now. Why did Benjamin Netanyahu, knowing that their charter said that they were to kill Jews and eradicate Israel, why would any leader of Israel work to fund that organization to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars?
Because we are controlled by people and they're using war to separate us. While in the meantime, we getting caught up in their games, for example.
So we subsequently went to the stairwell and we're going down the stairs. When we reached the 8th or the 6th floor, the landing that we were standing on gave way. There was an explosion in the landing gateway.
This is in World Trade 7, which was the smaller of the buildings, because they had two towers and they had a smaller building, World Trade 7. Notice he heard an explosion.
Because when I was on the stairs, I saw north side. Excuse me. All this time, I'm hearing all type of explosions.
So he's not in the building that got hit by the plane, but he's there hearing explosions. And there's videos of the World Trade Center itself falling from detonated explosions on every floor, as if it was a perfect demolition created by someone that benefited from the insurance.
Larry Silverstein, he is the person who re-signed an insurance policy on the World Trade Centers 6 weeks before they went down. He is also the person who has $1 trillion insurance policy on the Baltimore Bridge. But for some reason, Joe Biden has come out and said that we, taxpayers, are going to pay for all of that reconstruction.
Get it? They got us in the mix. They got us playing their games. These demonic people. Notice ancient Egypt, because they all have their roots in ancient Egypt. And if you don't know, the oldest synagogue in the world is in Cairo, Egypt. And it was built around the 9th century, not 2024 years ago with the story of Jesus being a rabbi. And no, Synagogues are approximately 1100 years old.
Who controls the world?
Well, I did a master's thesis back in 1991, Zane, and it was when the U.S. was planning the Gulf War.
Notice 1991. That was the same year the World Trade Center got bombed. There was a bomb in the basement. So they was going to use that as an excuse to go to war.
And it was called a Political Economy of Middle East Oil, the GCC, a Regional Resource Security System for the Regime of International Capital Accumulation. One of those big, long academic, titles. It was a 144-page thesis. I wanted to find out who owned the oil companies that were involved in the Middle East, and everybody knew Iraq was about oil. So I went on the Compact Disclosure, which is a research tool that used to exist. It was on CD-ROM back in the days when, everything was on those CD-ROMs. And it allowed you to find out the shareholders of all the publicly listed companies in the Fortune 500. And so I researched it, found out, and it turns out all these big oil companies, what I call the Four Horsemen, which is ExxonMobil, Royal Dutch Shell, BP Amoco, and Chevron Texaco, were owned by the same banks. So then I thought, well, we better find out who owns the banks, because whoever owns the banks actually owns the oil companies.
Right? So they don't care about nationalism. They think they're world elites. Therefore, they don't say that I'm a citizen of a country when they think they're above everyone else.
The Israeli occupation of Congo. This man, Dan Gutler, an Israeli businessman who came to the DRC in 1997. Forbes estimates his net worth to be $1.2 billion. How did he get rich, you ask? Well, diamonds. He was a diamonds dealer. And where were the diamonds found? In the DRC. Who let him in? The Kabilas, Laurent Kabila and his son Joseph Kabila, reportedly offered $20 million to the Kabilas for weapons to bolster their efforts to remain in power. So he signed deals with the president in exchange for monopoly on DRC's diamond market. So the Kabilas got weapons and Dan went away with the diamonds.
Non-stop. They just keep going and going and going. And who are they?
Rothschild died, and now his sons are all over Europe. There's only one problem. They're all over France, all over Germany, all over England, all over Belgium, all over. Only the Russians are not allowing them a footstep in their territory. That's why the Rothschilds, with the Illuminati right now, are now plotting to kick this Tsar of Russia out. How? You just have to train some people with a new theory called what? Marxism. It's called what? Communism. And then you send them in and a revolution takes place. And
bye-bye. Just keep going and going and going. Same people.
So the Vatican, through the Jesuits, were actually benefiting from that drug trade from Southeast Asia?
Absolutely. That is their drug trade. They ran all the opium wars in the 19th century using the British. Because remember, the British century was that century by which they used the British to overthrow the Manchu dynasty and a series of other things. And that drug trade, that opium trade, was completely in the hands of the Black Pope through the English branch of the Knights of Malta and high-level Freemasonry.
So you've got John F. Kennedy then, who was looking to put a stop to the war in Vietnam and the drug trade running from that part of the world, prevent Israel from acquiring nuclear weapons, and severing America's relationship with the federal, or dependence on the Federal Reserve Bank.
That's right. The other thing was he wanted to cut the tax breaks for the big oilmen. So that brings in Murchison and Hunt. He was going to get rid of those tax breaks. And I maintained that those Texas oilmen, those billionaires, were also connected to the Vatican by knighthoods. And so therefore, because the Vatican runs the whole oil industry.
If you don't know. But either way, I don't care how much money you have.
Hold on to your faith. Everything them claim that them own and them know Rastafari. That's why we not beg no friend from none of them. We dash a fire on them.